Dear learners, welcome back to Java interview preparation series. And in this video, we are going to discuss very simple program which is asked in multiple interviews, which is nothing but palindrome. So we are going to check whether this string is a palindrome or not. So what is meant by palindrome? So palindrome is nothing but whenever we read something in any of the direction. So which means either it is of an forward direction or in the backward direction, it should give the same meaning. So for example, we can take madam as an example. So this is a palindrome. So even if I read in the reverse direction, right, it is going to give the same meaning. Or else if I take a race car, so obviously even it is a palindrome because in both direction it is going to give the same meaning. So it is a race car. If that is the case, right, we call them as an palindrome. Now how we are going to check whether this string is palindrome or not with the help of the Java? It is very simple. We have already discussed the multiple logics in the reverse string or in the reverse the entire word or in the sum of array. So we are going to use the same logic. So let me just take a string and let the name is equal to race car. Okay. So now I need to verify whether this string is a palindrome or not. So which means we need to do some repetitive action in this particular line. And whenever we do this repetitive action, here we need to do two things. So one is we need to traverse forward and other is we need to traverse backward. So for which we can seek help from the loops. Okay. So I'm just using the loop. So let me use a traditional loop. Let me initialize something. Int I is equal to 0. Then I less than 0. Then I'm just setting up the increment operator. So it is not less than 0. We need to calculate the um, length of the string. So because we need to run the loop based upon the number of character which is present inside the string. So that is why I'm just setting the condition as the length. So then right, I need to use the increment operator. Now let me just create the block for this for loop. Now what we are going to do? So generally we know all the characters will be stored in an in-text order. So now let's say total there are 6 in-text. So first of all I need to compare the 0th in-text and 6th in-text. So both should have same character. And in similar way I need to compare 1 and 5, I need to compare 2 and 4, and then I need to compare 3 and 3. Okay, and how we are going to achieve this in the sense simple, we know in a string, so whenever we need to get some character, right, so we should use the method called as a caret. So I can say name dot caret of I. Okay, so now here as I told we need to traverse in two direction, one is of an forward and another is of an backward. So this right, it will always traverse in a forward direction because this increment operator will increase the value of I by +1. At the meantime, right, we need to traverse in the backward direction as well. So for which let me just set a condition if, okay, so name dot caret of I, I'm just going to check the condition. If it is not equal to name dot caret of, so we need to pick the last index, right? So how we can pick the last index? It is pretty simple. We can get the length, and whenever we say length -1, so it indicates it is the last index. But during each and every run, so we can easily traverse forward because the increment operator will keep on increasing the value of I by +1. But here, right, we need to keep on decrease the value of length, right? So then what can I do? I can say minus of I. Okay. So now what I'm going to check here. So rather than checking so whether both are equal, I'm just checking whether both are not equal. So if it is of a not equal, right, if it will step into this particular if block. So whenever if it is step into this particular if block, right, we can tell it is not a palindrome. And how we can print as an output. So for which, right, I'm going to set a flag. Okay, I'm just going to create an boolean. So boolean is nothing but it is a one of the data type, so which always return either true or false. Now let me just have the flag and let me have the default value as true. And whenever it step into this particular block, right, I'm just changing the flag value to the false. And whenever the flag value is false, right, so we can say it is not a palindrome. Okay, so now I'm just printing the output of the flag. Now in this case, if I just try to run the program, obviously the race car is in palindrome, so it will print the output as a true. And for example, now in the name, right, if I change it as ABCD and if I try to run this program, and this time it is not a palindrome, right? So it will print the output as a false. Okay, and there may be few cases. So let's say the space is present between the race car. Okay, between the race and the car there is a space present, but if I run the program, so this time again it will print the output as a false, but we need to ignore the space. So how we can ignore the space? So generally, whenever you want to ignore the space, right, so there is a method called as an replace all. So I can say name dot replace all. Okay, so sorry, the method name is replace. So we are going to replace the space. Okay, so this is a old character which is present in the string, and we are going to replace without space. Okay, so inside the double quotes I have mentioned space, which means all the space will be replaced by the without space. Now let me store the output in a new string. So I can say string new name is equal to something. Now, so wherever I'm using the name dot length, right, I should use new name dot caret, etc. So now I have updated everything. So now if I run the program, right, so even the space is present, all the space will be replaced with the non-space. So why it is throwing the error? Because in one place if I fail to update, so it should be new name dot length. Now let me just rerun the same program. Now let me just check the output. It says it's a true. And what in case, in a car, right, C is capital letter, and in the race, R is capital letter. Now, if I run the program, so now it will fail. It will say false because Java will always consider the case sensitivity. So now what we can do if you want to ignore the case sensitivity, so in the same string, right, so we are having one method called as an to lowercase. So either we can convert to the lowercase or we can convert to the uppercase. So whenever I say to lowercase, so the entire string will be converted to the lowercase. So now if I run the program, it will print the output as a true. Now if I take one more example, let's take a new string as an level. So even it is in palindrome, because if you read in either in the forward direction or the backward direction, it is going to give the same meaning. Now if I run this program, right, even it will return the true. Okay, and if you want to understand, so you can use the breakpoint. Okay, and then you can run with the help of the debug mode. Now in this case, it will calculate the length and then it will pass the inputs. Okay, so here the I value will be always a 0, and here it will be calculating the length. And if you want to know the output of the particular line, so always you can copy the line. As I said in the early video, you can right click and you can click on a new watch and you can paste the particular line, and if you click on the enter, it is going to give the output. So which means it's a caret of 4, it is caret of 0. So what it is present in caret of 0, so it is L, and even what it is present in the caret of 4, again L. So now it is both are equal, it is not equal. So one and only if it is not equal, let us step into the particular block. So in similar way, right, and during the next run, like now the value of I will be changed to 1. Now if you look over the watches which I have already added, so it is giving me the output as 3. So because now the value of I is 1 and it will calculate the length, so length minus 1 and minus of I, the output is 3. And then it will pick the third index, whereas like in the first, right, it will pick the caret of first index and it will try to compare. So in the similar way, like the program will be keep running. And for example, if I add something wrong, okay, and if I try to stop and if I try to rerun with the debugger, right, so now the like the first condition, so the first index and the last index will be true, so that is fine. Now during the second run, right, so obviously the both the character won't equal. So now it will step into the particular block and the flag value will be changed to false. So initially it was true, so now it will update to the false, and it will run till we run the program. And for example, right, so once you find it is a false, and if you don't want to run the program till the loop failed, right, what we can do, so inside we can add a break statement. So by the way, so whenever like it is step into this particular block, right, it will terminate the program and it will print the output as a false. So now if I just try to run in the debug mode, right, so you could be able to see the difference. Okay, so now the first run it will the loop will run, and during the second run, right, now the condition is true, it will step into the block, and this time, okay, it will terminate the program. Okay, it will immediately terminate the program because we have added the break statement. So hope this program is clear for you guys, and if you have any more queries, right, so please feel free to highlight in the comment section, and in the upcoming videos let me come up with the new programs, and all the best for your interview preparations.